Hey everyone, welcome to our next session recap of Just Revenge. And we had a great one this past weekend. A lot of questions were answered as a result of a huge battle that was had. So I don't know if you remember exactly what happened with the last session where we left off. Tenny had ran to the Temple of Saloon, where all our heroes were assembled, and said that fog was seen and undead were seen in Hobbittown, and that's or coincidentally or not so coincidentally is where one of the town elders lived. And he is a hobbit. The town elder is... Let me look at my notes. The town elder is a hobbit. And the hobbit's name is... The hobbit, the town elder who was the town elder who was the master of guilds, Borin Fendelben. What great names do we have here. The Master of Guilds, Borin Fendelben. So, so the party headed over there, and when they arrive, they just see a big giant fog bank in the middle of that part of the city of Everland. And and inside they can hear like sounds of battle, like swords clashing against things, and you know, groans of potential undead. Everyone rolled initiative, and you know, I don't. It's only been a couple days, and I'm trying to remember who went first. But when they entered the fog bank, they saw 20 skeletons and zombies attacking 10 of the special security forces of Everland. And if you remember what the Special Security Forces of Everland are, those are the guys with the 4-star badges who are kind of like thugs, who are, you know, there to assist for the safety of Everland now that the Army of the Vale has left. The party enters, and we have two clerics, Yelenia and Kaylin, and I believe Kaylin was the first one to use Turn Undead, and you know, with her several of the undead were turned, and then Yelenia, when it was her turn, did Turn Undead as well, and a whole bunch more were turned as well, started running away, and that left out of the 20, I believe around 6 undead made their saving throws, so they were not turned. You know, meanwhile the party engaged in combat with remaining undead, and they were assisting the special security forces who were fighting the undead. Now, I neglected to tell you that they were all fighting in front of this small hobbit house, and after and also who was there as well at the with the special security forces was their commander Darvim Stent. And so after the hobbits, we're in the first round of combat, and everyone's been the undead most of the undead have been turned. Darvim Stent, you know, says, "Oh, thanks. We're happy you arrived here." You know, he's kind of being wry or something like that, or about time you arrived. And then he says out to his troops, "Protect the door." You know, and so the party members were like, "What do you mean protect the door? Protect the door from what? You know, the undead are fleeing. You know, we're starting to beat them." But no, the special security forces moved to a position so they're protecting the front door, and so then Darvim Stent runs through the front door, and then the party, then the party realizes something is afoot, and so when they try to enter, the special security forces start attacking them. So now the party is fighting, the remaining skeletons and zombies, and special security forces are suddenly attacking them, and of course special security forces are still attacking the remaining zombies and skeletons as well. So it's a really weird kind of battle. With different characters doing different things. Like Aranis is using his firebolt and his new magic missile spell that he's second level, and Thea is using acid splash, and Ikaros is using Eldritch Blast, and another thing I forgot. Sorry, David. It was really cool. And Araxtor is fighting melee combat, and so is Grim, and so is Nadar. But Nadar sees Darvim Stent make for the door and go through the doorway, this little hobbit house, and Nadar decides to go, run through the doorway as well. So he boots it right through the middle of the special security forces guiding the door. They do not attack him. The DM forgot to do opportunity attacks. Oops. And he goes in through the doorway, and it's a very short, it's a hobbit house. So he's ducking down, and he sees Darvim Stent running up the stairs, and so he follows him. Meanwhile, the battle's going on outside, and people are like, "Well, the rest of the party is like, what should we do next?" They're kind of curious, and so inside the house, Darvim Stent makes it to the top of the staircase, and you can see there's like candlelight lit at the top of the staircase, and Nadar hears Darvim Stent saying "you," and like a kind of surprised yell, and he hears like a sword being attacking he hears like a sword hitting a body. So Nadar runs upstairs, and he sees this kind of emaciated figure with long white hair choking the Hobbit Town Elder who is in his bed, and the Hobbit Town Elder is like trying to resist, but appears to be helpless to the strength of whatever this emaciated figure is, and the emaciated figure turns towards Darvim Stent and says "Stop!" and then he freezes. He's instantly paralyzed, and so Nadar runs up, to try to stop whatever this thing is that's trying to kill the town elder, and grapples him. And so he successfully grapples this creature, but he notices the creature is extremely strong, very strong and powerful, but will not release his grip on the town elder. And then, some of the other characters start coming upstairs as well, like Yelenia. Meanwhile, the battle is still going on outside. Aranis is out there, as is Kaelin, who is protecting Tenny, who did follow the rest of the party to see what was going on. And Araxtor is out there. So the rest of the party, like Adri is now in the room, and Thea is up there, and this room, they all come flooding into the room when actually Thea came in first, right after Araxtor Nadar, and saw, the face of the creature, and she made her perception check and failed, and said, I'm like, well, you think you might know her, but you really can't recall. And everyone's like, oh, I wish I could have rolled better. So, but then Yelenia comes running up, and the creature looks at Yelenia and says, no, like, oh my God, don't look at me. And she looks like turned away. But Yelenia was successful with her perception check. Oh no, she failed, but then used her inspiration and rolled again and succeeded and recognized this creature as Stefana. And then everybody who was there all high-fived each other. Yes, they figured out who this creature was, this Stefana. And, right about this time though, just moments before that though, Stefana had choked the life out of Born Fendelben, and mysteriously, after he's been choked, not surprisingly, all of a sudden he turns into this long, weird blue humanoid creature, and that turned out to be a doppelganger. And doppelgangers can change shape into a whole bunches of other different things. So doppelgangers are like the ultimate spies. So that was interesting right there. So anyways, Stefana, and then Adri runs up, and Adri is like, Stefana's like, Adri! And they haven't seen each other in a very, very long time. Over 100 years probably, I think, if we think about the background stories. So then Stefana relates how her family, she had gone to the town elders and told her that she had found information about attack that was going to happen from the east, from some unknown force. And she gave him the letter that she had found at the tavern that she owns with her husband Xander, the old sword sheathed, and so then she went back home. And then the next day, Special Security Forces showed up at her place and took her and her husband and 2 daughters away for their own safety and questioning. And then they were never seen again. But so Stefana related that actually what happened was they were all taken someplace and brutally murdered. And then Stefana, with her last dying gasp, wished vengeance. And something happened. And she woke up in a grave, and she was transformed into a revenant, which is a very powerful undead spirit built on revenge. And her revenge is to kill all those people, all the town elders who saw her and were there when her and her family was killed. And she relates that she was surprised at first because when she killed the first town elder, she's now killed 3, and that after she had killed it, it turned into a doppelganger, and so did the next one. So then she realized what happened, and so she relates this information, and also, Ikaros knows about revenants, and he knows that after they kill their last victim, that they crumble to dust and are free. So the party was concerned about that, and maybe they're talking about ways to save Stefana, and who knows what will happen with that. In the interim, Stefana has designs on Darvum Stent, like, you are next, and she wants to kill him. Darvum Stent comes out of being paralyzed, but now he is just totally frightened of her, scared crapless, and and the party was like, well, we're gonna let her, you need to tell us what's going on here, otherwise we're going to let, her kill you. And because still Nadar had still had Stefana in a grappled state, even though Stefana was no longer resisting Nadar, but Nadar was holding on to her just in case. And then Darvin Stent started spilling the beans. He spilled the beans that who in the town elders were doppelgangers. He said that Yashelni Emerlatha is a doppelganger, and that Malvin Draga is not a doppelganger. And she said that Sindel Omogiel, the speaker of the town, is a doppelganger as well. So then, they asked him who his boss was. Then he said it was a person named Rokam Karmyar, who is, he said, located in the dungeons underneath the armory of Everland. And then they asked him who was, they got more information, like who was his boss, and he said his boss, the boss of the boss, who was coming with the force from the east, is with the army from the east is Ganthus Promian, the GP that everybody has been hearing about, and he is an over-wizard of the Arcane Brotherhood. And so then that big secret was found out. And that was kind of it as far as the whole, where they left off. So, and then, since he was since Darvin Stent was a person who had brutally murdered, assisted in brutally murdering Stefana's family and two daughters, her husband, and Stefana herself, they let Stefana kill Darvin Stent. And so then right after that, Araxtor and the remaining party members come upstairs, and they relate that all of the undead had fled or had been slain, and all the special security forces had been killed except for 2 that had just escaped. And then we ran out of time, and that was the end of the session. So we leave off with the party standing in the room. Stefana's over the dead body of Darvin Stent, and who knows what happens next. So, all right, well, that's our recap of our 3rd session of Just Revenge. Our next session is in April, and I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot that's going to happen. I know the party has uncovered some big secrets, but there's a lot more that they don't know about, and just a lot of other moving parts. They've only just scratched the surface. So until next time, we'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.